I guess before I go into this, I need to ask Mr. Kennan and Mr. Sessions. Have you all, can you give me an update on what has occurred regarding the $450,000 as to the audit?
The audit was a clean audit.
No. From our last meeting, it was that, if you go back to our notes here, go back to the minutes here, it says, Councilmember Robinson made a motion that both the city manager and the city attorney find a third-party company to review the policy and procedures that are in place, which Councilmember Owens seconded. The motion carried unanimously. Where are we with the third party?
The only one I'm aware of is the one I spoke to at your request. It's the one doing the county. I can't recall their name off the top of my head. So that's the only one I was able to locate.
That was before we had the meeting.
Right.
What has occurred since we had the meeting, a month from here? This started in February, where the $450,000 that we lost started in February. We got, and I just hate, this is the part of being part of this council that I don't like, is that we sometimes have to air our dirty laundry to the public. And this, like I said, this is the part of being a city council member that I do not like. But it has to be done in order to get something done. This started in February when we had $450,000 that was taken from us. We did not address this until last month in a public forum. I know it came up that it's still up under investigation. I was told, I don't know what the rest of the body was told. It was being investigated by FDLE. It was being investigated by our police department. It was being investigated by the FBI. Even the Selective Service or Secret Service was investigating what happened to our $450,000. And so trying to get to the bottom of, we know more than likely that money is gone, but we're supposed to be trying to implement something in place, put something in place, have an audit of this. And it was voted on that the two of you find a auditing company to come in and look at our policies and procedures and to audit, give us an audit of what we need to do differently to keep that from happening again. I asked you, Mr. Sessions, in the other day, I asked you about, I said, what is the status of it? You said, oh, you all didn't give me anything to do. These minutes was read to you. And still, as of today, we still do not have any type of accountability for following what this board has said for you guys to do. That is, this will not go away. This will not go away until we come up with some type of policy and procedures about what's happening in our finance department. This will not go away. As long as I am here, I will bring this up. I will hold you all accountable for what this council asked for you to do. So I'm hoping by next month that it will be a different report, that we will have someone, some company in here. We gave you the okay to do it. It is not anything, even though it's on here for an agenda item to vote on, it is not something that we need to vote on because we have already voted on it to have it done. So that's...
Well, understand, we don't have the authority to go out and hire an audit firm. That has to go under the procurement policy. I believe the threshold's 30,000, 35, and based on what the scope looked like for the county, it's going to exceed $35,000. So it would would have to be procured, go out for bids as to the, so the different companies that do these types of audits would have the opportunity to come in and place a bid, and then the council could choose one.
Okay, so I make a motion, if we need to do it like that. You all gave us the impression that that was taking, that could have happened last meeting. So I'm making a motion that this go out for as RFP or request for proposal or request for procurement, that our city manager and our attorney look for a company, an auditing company that also deals with policies and procedures for our finance department.
Second.
That was your, okay, so we have an official motion and a
Yep.
second.
So it's an audit, because we'll have to get the wording of the RFP correct. Policy procedures for finance department as to, I'm assuming, payment of
The,
Cybersecurity or
expenses and then an audit.
right, for our policies and procedures of how we handle our finance. I don't care if it's whether, well, I shouldn't say that, I don't care, but for what we do in our finance department, how we handle our finances, how we take in money, how we pay money out. Whether it is electronically, whether it's writing a check, wire transfer, whatever we do in our finance department.
We got a motion and a second.
All right, so you have the official motion. It's official. Mr. Kennedy, okay. All right, so we have a motion and a second, and any further discussion from council? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, like sign? My motion carries. The new item C, discussion concerning the trash pickup.
Yes, this is Jay.
Yes, ma'am.
My glasses on.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. This question is basically, J.O., if you can give us an update on this new rollout with the garbage cans and the pickup.
Gerald Lee, Board Director, City of Lubbock. So what is your specific question in regards to the cans?
Okay, specific question is about pickup. Specifically, I was driving, not intentionally, behind a truck, one of the pickup trucks on Thursday. And I noticed that the truck was picking up regular cans. And we have stated that in July, starting the 1st of July, that only the rollout cans will be picked up for trash.
Starting July 1, that's the way I instructed my guys to do. I've not followed the truck to make sure they are doing that. With the caveat, the only place that has not gotten the new cans yet is the Housing Authority. And we're working with them because there's so many of those, but we're working with them. We do have them delivered the cans, but they're wanting to put the housing number on the side of it so no resident get them mixed up because they're such close proximity. But those would be the only ones that I could think of that didn't have the cans as of last week. They should all be done by the end of this week for those.
And this wasn't near the Housing Authority where I was driving. And then secondly is that some houses that have the rollout can and they still have regular cans beside them, you know, they're just, some, your guys are picking up the roll-up can only and leaving the other cans full. Then some, they're picking up the roll-up can and they're picking up they're being selective, picking up the regular trash cans. If we are telling our residents that we are charging them $2.50 extra every month for the rollout can, and that is the only can that they can use, and other people are still using cans, regular cans. I don't think that's fair, and I know we're just getting into just the beginning of this right here, and you gotta work out some kinks. Those are some things that you need to probably look at and talk to the guy, because one neighbor may get extra stuff picked up, and the next neighbor may not. So they're calling me saying, why didn't they take all of my trash? I said, you only get one can, you got more than one can. Well, they down there, the folks down there, they got all of their stuff picked up. And I can't deny that because I saw it with my own eyes.
Just
So-
give me a call, let me know. I can't fix it if I don't know about it. This is the first time hearing of it.
Okay, so that's the reason I wanted an update on the status, maybe, you know.
On the flip side of that, the ones they're not picking up, them homeowners are dumping back in their cans and calling and say, hey, they never picked my garbage up either. I had 2 of those today. And I watched them dump it into the new can.
Then you have to tell them, say, hey, I watched you dump it.
I did.
And that's how it goes. But I know it's a learning curve for the people. This is something new, and we're gonna have to get used to it. But we also have to, you know, be held with, our employees be held,
Accountable.
yeah, because it does create problems
Oh, yeah.
among neighbors and with us, and more phone calls than we need.
We still have approximately 2 dozen that's refusing cans. And then we still got 300 plus that haven't gotten cans.
Alright,
We've got
question.
door knockers and everything. Nobody wants to sign for it.
Those people are not paying city water or something where they come to the window and you can get them to sign the paper there.
That's what we're trying to do now.
But if they go over what's the day? If you go over the 15th, you get extra charge, and does it, if you go past that, do they shut your water off? Well, then get them to sign that paper then, even if they get the water shut off.
That's the avenues that we're working now.
And question, on your housing, not your housing, but your rooming housing, how does that work? Every tenant in that rooming house get a new can?
Everyone that has a utility account. So, I don't think we have any of those types of houses that you're referring to. We have also located several places that didn't have utility accounts that we've been picking up garbage. No active account at their residence, and that's why the trash is piling up.
So the rooming house over in my neighborhood, they have,
That's not allowed inside the city limits, I don't believe.
what,
40.
well, I think Live been living with that for I don't know how many years, and we have not done anything about it. Previous, no present, and it has not been brought up. But we have
Does this have to do with Ms. Robinson's item?
Yes,
Okay, let's get to the point, please.
well, I'm getting to the point. You gotta go somewhere. Hold on. But anyway, JL, anyway, the question is, the rooming houses, like I said, I got a rooming house over in my neighborhood. I have 2. And they got some short cans that look like our cans. They still got the regular cans. What do we do? Are we still picking everything up?
No, sir.
Oh, we just only pick it up.
City cans, one with city emblem on it with the serial number on the front.
All right. And you mentioned something about the housing authority sending the number on their can.
Right.
Don't we have serial numbers on those cans?
We do. They want to put the resident housing on the side of their cans because they're next door to each other, so they don't get them mixed up. That don't make any sense to
So do you still got the serial numbers that come with all these
Correct.
cans?
Yes.
I don't see why.
Any further discussion on your item, Ms. Robinson?
No, I just needed just for explanation of what's going on, giving us an update, because it's one of the biggest things we have going on.
Right.
First
Just
of
to
all,
remind council.
first of all-
Well, no, sir, you're going to remain.
no.
Yes, sir, you will. You will, or
Well,
we'll go to recess. But
Sit
Let me
down.
tell you,
you're going to knock what, sir?
Yes, please sit down.
I'll knock the dust off
Sit
this.
down.
That's very professional. I would like to say to the council that the city manager and the public director, public works director is available to you almost immediately. If you have those kind of questions, you can contact them anytime and they will get back to you, and you'll be informed before you come to these meetings and have to ask questions that have already been answered in a public forum.
I did speak with the city manager
I
today.
get a question about.
All right, so moving on to item D.
Excuse me, I have a question about this.
No, sir, you don't have the floor, I'm sorry. Item D, Ms. Robinson?
Is Nicholas in here?
Yes.
We have the opportunity to piggyback off of Lake City CRA, their expansion for their CRA using the same company. And I would like for this council to give Nicholas or staff the authority to look further to determine if we can piggyback off of and move forward with trying to see the necessity study for the expansion of CRA in our city. So it's basically asking for staff, giving staff the authority to look into this, and if it warrants to move forward with trying to expand our CRA.
Let me bring you up to date. I did some footwork after seeing this on the agenda for you, Ms. Robinson. We cannot piggyback onto the city of Lake City because they did not procure their contract. They piggyback off the city of Sebastian. The city of Sebastian would have to give us permission to piggyback off of that same contract, which, after talking with a consultant, shouldn't be a problem. It doesn't affect them in any way. It's just their contract. They gave us permission to piggyback. Piggyback process is more complicated than just saying, I want to piggyback and do the same thing you're doing. The issue first would be who would pay the funding if we got permission. And number two, we would have to get a proposal, and I would have to determine if that proposal is substantially similar, if not identical. Identical is not the right word, but substantially similar is very close to identical to the city of Sebastian contract. And the scope of work we are requesting is not substantially similar in pricing and scope to the city of Sebastian. We would not be entitled to piggyback, and we'd have to procure a bid for those services. So I've already got all of that done before tonight for you. And so what I can do is between now and the next meeting, I can call the city of Sebastian and get their permission to piggyback and to get a copy of their proposal. They would have to hopefully voluntarily give it to me, so I wouldn't have to do a 119 request, because now we're talking time and money. But I have to be sure that they procured it in a similar matched fashion that our procurement policy requires. I am assuming they did, because the city of Lake City, having piggybacked off that contract, their CRA has passed a resolution to rebudget some of their funds to pay for the scope of work, which is $166,000 for the city of Lake City. And the scope of work there sounds very similar to what our CRA was wanting to do, and that is to determine whether the boundaries can be expanded. Part of that process is a finding of necessity in the areas that you want to expand the boundaries. And they have a very detailed pricing criteria for the meet and greet, and give us an idea where you might want to expand is X number of dollars. Finding of necessity is X number of dollars. Redefining the boundaries, if they find the necessity, is a certain amount of money. If the necessity is not found within the requested boundary expansion, they can give alternatives that you can't go to this street from here to there because there's no necessity, but maybe you could go from here to there, an alternative expansion. And then if they find that the boundary expansion would be appropriate with a finding of necessity, and and that is approved, then they would, they have it in their pricing with the city to have an engineering or a surveying firm give us the boundaries of the expansion. And so the total cost of that broken down is $166,000. So ours may be cheaper, ours may be more expensive. If our CRA is comparative in size to Lake City, it's probably going to be about the same amount of money. If our scope is much larger, then that's where we have to get into a piggyback analysis as to whether we can piggyback if our scope is not substantially similar.
Nicholas Pagula, State Life Oak CRA, just in also with that contract, it is to rewrite our current CRA plan in there as well.
That's included in that
So that
166.
whole, it's a whole price for everything.
Okay, because we have to have that done
Correct.
anyway.
You
And
can
that's a
edit,
different.
edit district or expand the borders, you'd have to rewrite the plan anyway, which is something we were looking at doing to extend our date. So this is just a step in the process of all of it.
Okay.
So just to clarify, so that 166 wasn't just specifically for that, it was for the entirety of the project.
Right.
And for the city of Lake City, the largest unit price, and that's what I'd have to look at, is the unit prices for the city of Sebastian compared to what they may offer us. The largest line item is $54,500 for the community redevelopment plan update. So that is a rewrite, which we had to do anyway. And then the city of Lake City wanting to do some of the same things we want to do as far as boundary expansion, which then causes the finding of necessity. That's where they start adding on to the $54,500. So if we didn't want to expand it, we could probably get by much cheaper. But if we want to look at expanding, then I'm guessing you're going to be in that $166,000 range. And again, if our unit prices are not substantially similar to Sebastian's, we're going to have to send it out for an RFP and give other firms the opportunity to bid.
Something further with that is, with the paperwork that Mr. Kenny was able to find, it also would show that there's a precedent for CRAs to pay for all of this, not just the city, which is something different from what we've heard before, but in the paperwork and in the contract, it shows and explains in depth how. So there was more information that we hadn't had previously. So the CRA would be able to pay for the finding of necessity according to the paperwork that it has.
Okay.
And that would be covered under the statute.
Okay, so that would be covered up under the CRA funds that